All right, let's talk about Europe, shall we? This stunning collection of history, culture and, let's be honest, some truly baffling cheeses is facing a bit of a moment. From the cobbled streets of Prague to the sun-drenched beaches of Greece, a shadow looms large. The illegal invasion of Ukraine by Russia has shattered the peace, exposing vulnerabilities and sparking anxieties that haven't been felt so acutely in decades. And if that wasn't enough to make you reach for a stiff drink or perhaps a soothingly mild Gouda, Europe is grappling with a host of other challenges, from a fluctuating economy to the ever-present debate surrounding immigration. But here's the thing, burying our heads in the sand, or indeed in delicious potato dumplings, won't make these problems disappear. Europe, for all its complexities and contradictions, is a place worth fighting for. So how do we secure its future? Well, it's complicated, like a 16-layer Black Forest cake. But stick with me because we're going to break it down into 5, dare I say, digestible slices. First up, let's talk about NATO. Now, I know, mention military alliances and eyes tend to glaze over, but bear with me because this is important. NATO is a club of countries who've agreed to have each other's backs, and things in Eastern Europe have gone more south than a flock of geese in November. Russia's actions show the threat to Europe is real and happening now, which is why a strong and united NATO is crucial. We need to bolster NATO's presence in Eastern Europe and increase military exercises. A strong NATO presence is about deterring conflict, not provoking it. It's about sending a clear message that aggression will not be tolerated. So let's ensure NATO has the resources and support it needs. Now, let's talk about something a little less tangible than tanks and troops, but arguably just as important in the 21st century: cybersecurity. You see, in this digital age, wars aren't just fought on battlefields, they're also waged in the shadowy realm of ones and zeros. Think about it. Our power grids, our banks, our hospitals, even our traffic lights, they're all increasingly reliant on interconnected computer systems. And those systems, my friends, are vulnerable. We're talking about a world where a well-placed cyber attack could cripple critical infrastructure, disrupt financial markets, or even sow chaos and confusion on a massive scale. It's the kind of thing that keeps intelligence officials up at night, mainlining espresso and muttering things like denial of service attack and zero-day exploit. And frankly, it should keep the rest of us up at night too. Because if we're not careful, the next great conflict might not be fought with bullets and bombs, but with keystrokes and code. We need to be investing in robust cybersecurity measures, strengthening our digital defenses, and working together to share information and best practices. We need to be proactive, vigilant, and constantly adapting to the ever-evolving threat landscape. Because the future is digital, my friends, and it's time we started treating it that way. Now let's talk about a topic that's often hijacked by fear-mongering politicians and sensationalist headlines: immigration. It's a complex issue, fraught with emotion, and one that's all too often reduced to simplistic soundbites and divisive rhetoric. But here's the thing, at its core, immigration is a human story. It's about people, individuals with hopes, dreams, and the fundamental right to seek a better life for themselves and their families. And let's be clear, Europe needs immigrants. We have an aging population, a shrinking workforce, and a whole host of jobs that simply aren't being filled. Immigrants bring much-needed skills, diversity, and dynamism to our societies. They start businesses, contribute to our economies, and enrich our cultures. But of course there are legitimate concerns about the impact of immigration, particularly when it comes to issues like integration, security, and the strain on public services. We need to be talking about creating clear and accessible pathways to legal immigration, investing in language programs and integration initiatives, and addressing the root causes of migration, such as poverty, conflict, and persecution. Because a secure and prosperous Europe is one that embraces diversity, welcomes newcomers, and recognizes that our shared humanity transcends borders, languages, and cultural differences. Let's talk about something crucial to Europe's future economic stability. You can have all the tanks and troops, but if your economy is failing, maintaining security is tough. Economic hardship breeds instability and extremism. Struggling people are more susceptible to populism and division. Ensuring economic stability requires sustainable and inclusive growth. Growth must benefit everyone, not just the wealthy. Invest in education, infrastructure and innovation. Create jobs and foster a thriving business environment. Tackle inequality for a strong economy. A strong economy needs regular checkups and responsible handling. And finally, let's talk about the glue that holds it all together. Political unity, because here's the thing, Europe is at its strongest when it stands together, united in purpose and resolve. But lately, it feels like we've been doing a lot more dividing than uniting. From Brexit to the rise of far-right populism, from disagreements over immigration to the ever-present threat of nationalism, it seems like everyone's got their own agenda, their own priorities, and their own idea of what Europe should be. And look, I get it, Europe is a diverse place with a long and complicated history. We've got different languages, different cultures, different cuisines. But here's the thing, our differences are our strength, not our weakness. It's our shared values, our commitment to democracy, human rights and the rule of law that bind us together. We're facing challenges that no single nation can overcome alone, from climate change to terrorism, from cyber attacks to pandemics. The problems of the 21st century don't respect borders. They require a collective response, a united front. So let's put aside our differences, let's focus on what unites us, and let's build a stronger, more resilient and more united Europe for generations to come. So, there you have it. 5 steps, albeit rather complicated ones, to securing Europe's future. Look, I'm not going to pretend that any of this is going to be easy. It's going to take time, effort, and a whole lot of uncomfortable conversations. But the alternative, burying our heads in the sand and hoping for the best, is simply not an option. We're at a crossroads, folks. The decisions we make today will determine the course of Europe for generations to come. So, let's choose wisely.